The new Saints Row is almost here, and in a few short weeks, you'll be able to dive into this new open world game where you get to work your way up to be the crime kingpin of the fictional American Southwest. The first game I wanted to talk about in this series, being released in August of 2022, is the new Saints Row. This is the game that I'm most excited about. This game holds a space near and dear to my heart, as I've played Saints Row since it initially launched back in 2006. The whole premise behind Saints Row when it first launched is you are a recruit brought into a gang called the 3rd Street Saints, and you kind of work your way up the corporate ladder in the gang to become kind of the leader of the 3rd Street Saints as you progress to take over districts and basically become a conglomerate gang, essentially, as the series progresses. So initially, Saints Row was supposed to be launched February 25th of this year, but it got pushed back until August 23rd, which means that in a few short weeks, it will be here. And the whole premise behind the game is essentially it takes place in a city called Santo Ileso? I'm butchering that. I know that. I'm sorry. I wish I could say that correctly.
Bruh.
Anyways, moving on. The city that I cannot pronounce is located in the American Southwest. It's based loosely on Las Vegas. The idea is that the city is currently under control from 3 criminal gangs. The Los Panteros, which is a gritty, vehicle and fitness-oriented gang. The Idols, an anarchist gang focused on clubs and nightlife. And there's Marshall Defense Industries, which is an international private military corporation based in the city that Saints Row takes place in. So your player character that you create, also known as the Boss, is a former member of Marshall Defense Industries, and he assembles a new gang from dissatisfied members of these gangs to seize power from them. These members that you bring in from the other gangs are Nina, a mechanic formerly with Los Panteros and serves as the gang's driver. There is Kevin, a DJ that was part of the Idols and handles the execution of their heists. And Eli, a business entrepreneur with an MBA and now plans the Boss's gang's activities. Before we get too far, let's just take a moment, shall we? And let's click that subscribe button down below, the like button, and that cool little ringy-dingy bell you see next to the subscribe button. Let's click that too so you get notified every time a new video gets released. Anyways, let's keep going. The city is broken down into 9 districts, which include Rancho Providencio, a rundown rural town, El Dorado, a gambling casino haven comparable to that of Las Vegas, and Monte Vista, a suburban area. As in the past Saints Row games, the whole idea is that you are to essentially take over every one of these districts and to own all of them and have them under control of your gang. The player will work to take over these districts, granting them certain benefits. New to this game, the player will be able to use empty lots located in these secured districts to launch illegitimate businesses with legitimate fronts to help finance and benefit the gang. The new city will include more vertical areas with tools that the player will be able to use to take advantage of that. The driving gameplay has been improved to encourage the use of vehicles as weapons themselves alongside guns. The game will include a detailed character creator for the player character, also known as the Boss Factory, including the selection of gender. There will be a drop-in cooperative multiplayer with a second player, with each player having their own boss character and progressing in their own missions while helping the hosting player. And it appears that the 3rd Street Saints are no more in this game and that we are now working on something completely different. Looking at my notes here, it says that this reboot is intended to pull away from the wacky tones of Saints Row 4 and later games in the series, instead bringing back the balance between comedy and seriousness that Saints Row 2 had. Volition's Jeremy Bernstein compared Saints Row 4 to Moonraker of the James Bond film series, having gone so far outside the realm of reality that they needed to reel it back in. Some of the more lewd elements, like a giant purple phallic instrument that could be used as a weapon were cut for this reason.
Holy Jesus. What is that? What the fuck is that?
Anyways. Ugh. The game's developer Volition looked to action films as reference points for what they wanted players to experience, including the feel-good vehicular movement of Baby Driver, the brutal stylized combat of John Wick, and the extravagance of Hobbs and Shaw. That Saints Row sort of flavor is how they quote it. A post-release expansion pass will include at least 3 pieces of downloadable content, a pre-order bonus, and digital-only special editions, as well as include additional cosmetic content. It seems like, given the social climate of the world, they are attempting to stay away from potentially more offensive things to avoid any sort of pullback or hammer dropping from the community, if you will. All in all, it would appear that with what we see in previous Saints Rows compared to what is shown in the released trailers, as well as some other footage that you can find online, that there's definitely a lot of the original Saints Row aspects in the game to keep the same feel of what players are used to, as well as adding a lot of new elements. And it seems like they're getting back to their roots of having a more aggressive / realistic type gameplay with like a hostile environment of the gangs and trying to take over or overrun a city with the powers that be. So once this game gets released, I will likely do a more in-depth review once I'm able to get my hands on and dive into the game. So please definitely come back and take a look at the channel, and you can do that by subscribing, liking the video, and make sure you click that notification bell so that you get notified when that video does get released. What do you guys think of the new Saints Row game coming out? Drop a comment below and let me know what you think of the new Saints Row game. Are you excited? Are you bummed out about the changes that are being made? Maybe you really enjoy the fact that they are going back to more of the traditional Saints Row roots that were initially released back in 2006. Or maybe you're wishing they would have went more on the wacky side of things. Let me know what you guys think in the comments. I'd love to hear what you think of the new Saints Row game. With all that being said, I appreciate all of you sticking around and watching the video, and I hope you all have a wonderful day. With